All right, I am joined by Wendell Young, the longtime general manager of the Chicago Wolves. Want to talk a little hockey and the suspension of the AHL season and how life in quarantine is going. I see his masks in the background. They're looking sharp. Wendell, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, doing good. A little bored at times, but that's the way it is right now.
So, like, how much communication do you have with the league? Is it daily? Do you wait for them to contact you? Are you sort of chomping at the bit to kind of find out if there's going to be a plan here at some point where you guys can get back and play?
The league's been really good with keeping us updated. It's not every day, but probably every 2 or 3 days. They play a lot off what the NHL is doing, since the NHL kind of dictates how the leagues run and stuff. So I think we're kind of piggybacking off the AHL or the NHL, and the AHL kind of follows. We're following a lot of their protocol. They've been really good about all the protocols and what to do with the players.
So how much communication do you have with the guys, Wendell? I mean, like, is that kind of daily so you can keep up and track what they're doing and just kind of talk to them, talk them through all this? What's that been like?
No, there's certain guys I keep in contact with that are, that have had surgeries or whatever, and just seeing how they're doing. But mostly they've gone home, and we're just letting them kind of go, almost like the summer. And I'll catch up. Everybody's on wait. I've sent out a few emails of just updating on where we're at, and just be ready. And I basically said, stay safe, but try to stay in shape as much as you can. And hopefully the AHL will start up, but there's a better chance of the NHL starting up, and if the NHL starts up, they'll take a big crew of players up there to be extras running through the playoffs.
So, I mean, baseball players can kind of go out, keep their arms warm. You can do, hitters can work on stuff. These basketball players can, they've got gyms in their home or they've got a hoop. These guys don't have rinks that they could probably access right now. I mean, what are they doing? I mean, is it just trying to stay physically fit? But I mean, they can't do anything on the ice and really practice their craft right now, can they?
That's exactly hockey related. It's pretty tough. Hopefully they have a bike or a treadmill or something within their where they're at. Try to keep your cardio up, but the whole hockey in shape. You see guys, they work out all summer. They need to get on the ice because different muscles are being used. So it'll be tough for to get the league going again. It can't start up within a week.
Yeah.
They got to give at least a 2-week grace period to get these guys back into hockey shape. That's what we call it. Guys get injured, and when they're coming back, we try to simulate things in practice that's like the game, but there's nothing like the game. So you don't want the guys to come back and have a ton of injuries.
Yeah, and you do assume that if this thing starts up again, it's playoffs and go, right? I mean, is that what's going to – I mean, NHL and AHL, would you think that that's what happens?
That's my understanding, and even could be a shortened tournament type thing. I've been hearing rumors of East and West. They have a tournament within one city, and then the winners of those tournaments come out and they play each other with the Stanley Cup. There's a lot of rumors out there. I think the NHL is going to do everything, especially with the TV contracts, going to do everything to try to get this season in.
You guys, the Wolves have obviously a TV deal, and I think that makes, from an AHL standpoint, it kind of makes you guys unique. This idea that we're going to get back, though, and have to play in empty stadiums, or at least for this year, you guys might have to play in empty stadiums. Like, I think that's going to be really hard for the AHL because the vibe in those buildings is so much fun. I always tell people that at these AHL games, you can be a grown-up like myself who loves hockey, and you watch, the margins are very thin between the AHL and the NHL. I mean, that game is so fast. The players are so good. It's great hockey. And then it's great for kids. The sounds, the lights, I mean, everything that's going on. It really is a fan experience. Like, these players in the NHL need to get paid. They're going to come back. They've got their TV money. But it's like a much harder sell almost for the AHL teams, isn't it, Wendell, when you're talking about playing in these buildings where there are no fans? And that's, let's face it, how a lot of the revenue is made for the AHL too.
That's 100%. It's going to be tougher for the AHL feasibility-wise because our revenues are based on ticket sales, concessions. I just spoke with a bunch of owners and GMs yesterday, kind of on our own, and just talking about things and how they're handling things and staffing and where they're going to go with it and what they're hearing. And one owner in particular said, they lost 8 home revenue, big revenue, especially at the end of the season. You're usually your fans. There's a lot more fans. Marketing dollars, concessions, apparel. They've lost all that down the thing, and they count on that to keep their franchise running. They got staff now. Come another week or two, they're probably going to have to let staff go and just keep a bare minimum within the staff. So it's going to continue, and especially with ticket revenues is where it's at for the American Hockey League. You got to put people through the door, and in the NHL, I think you can get away with it because the TV contracts are so big. And if you look right now, it's sad sitting at home and there's no sports on TV. If they can get it going, I think within the NHL they can get it going and make it work TV wise.
Yeah.
But it's hard to replicate being live in a stadium. And like you said, the game is so fast. You sit up high in an arena and watch the game. It's slower. The closer you get down to the ice, it's so fast. And I've gone to hockey games and sat down. The lower I sat, and I'm just more amazed how fast the game is. And I keep telling people the game gets faster and faster. And sit down by the glass sometime and just see how fast these guys are and how high impact it is. And they're going at unbelievable speeds, and they're getting hit into a hard surface all the time. So I have so much respect for the athletes these days, and especially hockey players.
The game is incredibly fast. I mean, it only gets faster and faster. It's kind of amazing. How do you feel about where the team was when all this happened? You guys were a playoff team, obviously. I think, the timing was so – I mean, look, it's terrible, and I get it. It's a lot bigger than sports. But for so many of us, this is kind of what we do. It's what we enjoy. You guys were hitting this stretch where I think that week there were a couple of games against Rockford, if I'm not mistaken. So, and like, boom, you hit the brakes on everything. But you guys were the 4th seed in the division, so you're a playoff team again. How did you feel about the team and where you were when all this started?
I thought our team was going in the right direction. Our coaching staff's done a great job. We're really – defensive minded. We lack a lot of offense. We're one of the lowest scoring teams in the league. But at that said, we're so good defensively. Goaltending was good. Our power play was good. So we're positioning ourselves good for the stretch and going into the playoffs. And I talked to a few GMs within our league, and they were worried about playing us because the way we play hard every night. And that's a credit to our coaching staff, getting the guys motivated, getting the guys going. And we're in an awesome position. I felt really good about our team. Everyone was fitting in roles. We're getting a little more healthy. Everything was in place. But again, it's having this stoppage. It's more than just sports. But it was a tough time because March and April. You got so many sports on at this time. Go from the Masters to the NCAA basketball to NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, AHL playoffs, Major League Baseball started. This was the main time of the year when sports were all kind of combining and hitting stride at the same time. And it's tough sitting home and with no sports on TV. It's so hard.
What have you done to get your fill? I mean, are you watching old games? Are you watching some of your old games? I mean, what are you doing to sort of fill that void?
I am watching a lot of Netflix, a lot of Prime and stuff. Just I'm a big documentary person, so I've watched a lot of documentaries, but I'm getting into different shows from Ozark. I just finished the season 3 of Ozark.
How great was Ozark season 3?
Oh, it's just great. It's just so awesome. Just great acting, great storyline.
The last 3 episodes were incredible, and in the end, and we won't give it away, obviously, but the end was, oh my gosh, now I can't believe we have to wait for God knows how long before.
I know it was a quick ending. It was boom, and it was done, and I was like, oh my God, they didn't even wait for this. So yeah, it was good. So with that, I've watched a bit of hockey just to catch up on a few of the players. More scouting. That's what I'm basically doing at this time. I'm going through list, top scorers, top plus minus guys, top defensemen. I'm going through goalie. I'm basically doing my fantasy hockey right now, going through stuff. And, I talk at the GMs all the time, and I say that's what we do. We play fantasy hockey for real. We're using real people, real money, and then we're trying to get the best team for the cheapest price. And, a bunch of GMs kind of looked at me like, oh my God, we really do that. I go, yeah. I go, there's so many millions of people playing fantasy sports. And I go, we're doing it with real money and real people.
The stakes are a little higher. That's all.
That's it.
You mentioned that you guys were a little bit more defensive this year. Do you, and you've been doing this a long time, Wendell. I mean, like, do you find that it kind of ebbs and flows from season to season because it's fluid? You know, there are constantly guys sort of changing positions, places. You got guys going up to the big club. I mean, is that sort of a natural ebb and flow for most AHL teams? And have you seen that in your career as a GM?
Absolutely. I think a big thing is with your NHL partner, a lot depends on what they're doing. Um, we were with Vegas, and I think they felt that their team was so strong offensively at the top. They didn't need as much offense in their minor system, so they went with more grit and defensive guys when they re-signed guys or brought free agents in, and that's basically what happened. We're at the beck end of the parent team a lot of times. And who they signed. So it's, but it goes every year. The year before, we had a really good offensive team. We had some unbelievable players offensively, and it's the nature of our league that players leave quite fast if they're free agents. They go to different teams because there's more money to be made and better situations. And if they're in the American League for a long time, they want a change of venue to try to see if they can get up. Maybe they feel they're in the wrong organization and they're not going to get a chance. Or if you're a centerman and you look and they've got 5 really good centermen at the top level, they want to get out of the organization and go somewhere else where they're lacking center, because it's every player's dream to play in the NHL. And I hold no grudge against guys that look at the big picture and say, I might have to move on and go somewhere to fulfill my dreams. And, players have done that. A lot of players have come through the Wolves organization, have developed here. We brought them in, they've had career years, and they move on. And stay in contact with a lot of them, and we're very proud of them. And when I go scout a game and I see former Wolves players playing, I'm proud. I watch a game on the NHL Network. I'm proud that they were former Wolves.
Yeah. You guys have always done well with goalies, it seems like. Oscar's got a chance to be a really good one. I know people are pretty high on. Is that because of your background as such a long-time professional goalie? Do you ever feel like do you ever get the urge to sort of put a coaching hat on, or do you let like Rocky or the coaching staffs just kind of handle that? Like why have you done so well with the goalies? Is it just because of your experience as a goalie?
We've been lucky. We've been really fortunate with the Wolves organization. I think from day one, we've had really good goaltending. Ray LeBlanc in the first couple of years, and we can go through Pasi Nurminen, Trefilov, which was MVP in the playoffs one year. Kari Lehtinen, Pavlik, like you said, Oscar Dansk. Jake Allen was the best goalie, voted the best goalie in the league. So we've been really fortunate. I think it's the luck of the draw. I think, we have we've been really fortunate to have good goalie coaches come in. Stan Dubicki's a local person here that when I took over as GM, he moved in, and he really is really good with the goalies in the situation that more of the mental side of it, where it's if the goalie's having a bad day or whatever, they need somebody to talk to. Let's be truthful. Goalies are a little different. Yeah. I'm probably the most normal goalie. I always tell everybody I'm the most normal person goalie. But we're a little different at times, and we view the game differently. We see, we know when we played bad, and we know situations. And I think Stan's really good with them on the mental side.
So Vegas bought San Antonio, right? And they're going to move. So that now you guys are looking for a big league club. Like how does that work at this point, Wendell? And what can you tell us about maybe who you guys might be partnering up with next year in the NHL?
Yeah, Vegas decided they wanted a franchise. When they came into the NHL 3 years ago, they didn't want to spend their valuable time dealing with an American Hockey League team on the startup and all that. So they partnered with us, and then they realized there's such an interest in hockey in Vegas. They went and bought their own American League team, and they're going to have a team in Vegas next year. And it's probably great for them. The franchise is going to be close to them, a different section of Vegas. So that leaves us without a parent team and an affiliate. There's 31 teams in the NHL. 31 American League teams. We're going to have somebody right now, from what I understand. Carolina and Florida do not have affiliates done yet. I'm not sure on other affiliates. I've had a couple conversations, but we have nothing. We haven't negotiated. We haven't done anything yet. And I think we're just waiting to see where the rest of the season goes. I think once we know where the season's going, AHL wise, then a lot of things will start rolling from there.
Yeah, I could see how that might have to be on hold, obviously, like everything else, until we get some sort of finality to this season to know what you guys are going to be able to do. Can you believe how it took off in Vegas? I mean, and I guess it helps when the team is so good that first year. But I mean, the buzz, it seems so real. It seems so genuine. They seem like they're totally into it in Las Vegas.
It is unbelievable. You can't go anywhere without seeing a sticker or a jersey, a hat. It's unbelievable. It's the whole city is rallied around it, around the team. Everyone's like, the games are so enthusiastic, and it's typical Vegas. It's a major show. There's a show outside the arena, and there's a show in. You always know you're going to have good weather outside, so they can always plan for that. But I've had people going, and my kids have gone, and it's basically, they said it's a nightclub with a hockey game going on inside, because the music's, the bass is deeper and the whole thing, and it's so much going on. It is really entertaining, and that's a part of sports now. It's just not what's going on the field or the arena or on the ice. It's the whole entertainment package, and they've hit it at the best, because they've done a great job. They've really done a great job in the community, and really they've embraced Vegas, and Vegas has embraced them. And every game's sold out, and it's an event every time. And that's why they went and got a franchise, because they figure they can sustain an American League franchise there.
That whole city thrives on tourism for the most part. I mean, when you talk about from an economic standpoint, I mean, it's hospitality, it's tourism, it's entertainment, like you said. I mean, I think, and I love visiting Vegas. It's probably my favorite place to just in and out for a weekend, my favorite place to go. Everything in Vegas is good these days. The shows are great. The food is great. Every great chef has a restaurant in Vegas. I mean, I do want to at some point be out there when the hockey season is going on to see a game. I mean, I think it's become the entertainment capital of the world, or certainly the United States, even more than Broadway. But it's like, it's scary, the future, because of what this shutdown does to a place like Las Vegas that thrives so much on that entertainment dollar, and hockey's now a part of that.
That's exactly, you see the pictures of the strip, and it's empty. And so all these, restaurants and casinos, and like you said, there's so many concerts going on. Cirque du Soleil has a show, I think, at every venue there. And there's so much going on. Like, you can't get bored in Vegas, put it that way. There's always something going on at all the times. But it's really an expanding city. I think a lot of the fans are actually Vegas based. They have an allotment for transitional people coming in and out, but it's hard to get a ticket, and most season ticket holders are Vegas residents. When they did their season ticket drive, I think they limited basically every casino, hotel, whatever. They can only have 4 tickets. They didn't want one casino buying up 500 tickets or whatever. They wanted true fans coming in, and that's what they have. And they have a lot of season ticket holders. But it's amazing. It's such a warm place.
Yeah.
That they're so enthusiastic about hockey, and they've embraced it. And when you see, there's so many first-time hockey people too. It's just not people that have moved there, say from Chicago or whatever. There's first-time hockey fans, and they've embraced it because it's so entertaining.
It's good for the growth of the game. I always love to mention, when I talk to Wendell, and we've talked about this in the past, people should be aware that he is the only man in hockey history to win all 4 of the cups: the Memorial Cup, the Turner Cup, the Calder Cup, and the Stanley Cup. I mean, it's like picking between your kids. I don't know if I can ask you which is your favorite. I mean, maybe it's got to be the Stanley Cup, but that is an incredible distinction, Wendell, for sure.
I've been really fortunate in my career. Like, let's be serious. I basically haven't worked a day in my life. I've played hockey, I've coached, and now I'm GM. So it's fun, and I've been really fortunate to be working in something that I love. I love playing, and I love being a GM. But I was in the right place at the right time. Some of the championships, I was a big contributor. Other ones, I was just a sideline person. But I happened to be in the right place. And again, not just I've been fortunate enough to play pro sports and have the chance to play in the NHL. I've been lucky to be around some great players. I've played with Johnny Anderson pointed out to me one time, Coach John Anderson, he pointed out one time, he goes, do you realize how many Hall of Famers were on the Penguins when you were there? And I didn't think about it. And then we started going through the list through, Yager's going to be in there, but you go Lemieux, Coffey, Francis, Trottier. He goes, those were just your centermen. And then there's Stevens, Murphy. We had like 10 Hall of Famers, and when you play with them, when you're on the same team with them, you don't think of them that way, and they're really good players, but they're just like us, and that's what's great about hockey is if anybody gets too high on their horse, the rest of the group will bring them back down because you're not that important and you're not that great. And that's what's great about hockey. We police our own dressing room, and no one's better than anybody else. And that's really, you might be a better player, but you're not better than anybody else. And that's what's great about hockey. And I always say that about hockey players. Like, we don't really have to worry about the dressing room too much and what's going on in there, because we have quality guys, and that's been a big thing with the Wolves here. We've had quality people, character guys, and that's a part of the thing. I just don't look for guys that can score goals. I look for guys that are character, that they're great in the community, and we've got a great reputation with the Chicago Wolves that we're awesome in the community. Courtney Mahoney does a fantastic job, charity-wise, community relations, and our players are willing to go out there, and I think that's the biggest thing on a winning team, and that's part what I've been on a winning team. Of all the teams I've been on, you don't win with a bunch of idiots. Like, you win with a bunch of great guys. And you hear about it, after guys win a championship, oh, this is the greatest bunch of guys ever. Well, they probably are, because if you have bad apples in the dressing room, you're probably not going to win. And that's the whole thing. You have quality people and you have quality talent, and that's what wins championships.
So regardless of who the affiliate is next year, the one thing that'll never change is this great rivalry between you guys and Rockford. I mean, those games really are so much fun. The energy, the electricity in that building is real. That's the stuff, I guess, we just, as sports fans, we all have to look forward to, right, Wendell? And like this getting back at some point, and it's probably not going to be this year where we get to see it in the stands, but hopefully by next year, back up and running, fans in the stands, and back to Chicago Wolves hockey, right?
There's nothing like rivalries. The rivalries are the greatest thing. And like, you circle certain games on your calendar, and players do it, coaches do it, GMs do it. We know who we're playing. We know when Rockford's coming in, and the whole rivalry and what's going on and who they're affiliated with, and you go through all that, and it's fun because they have some of their fans in there. We play Grand Rapids, we play Milwaukee. There's a good rivalry, but there's nothing like the Rockford rivalry. And hopefully we'll start the season on time next year, and that's still in question too. Not just finishing this season, it's in question of where we're going to be come October. Training camp start in September, and that might be pushed back. And then if that gets pushed back, then the season will get pushed back. We're already looking at dates going further than we initially thought last year. And we were going to finish next year in 2021. In April, we've actually looked at dates for the second part of April and into May, because we might have to extend the season, because if we start late, and hopefully we'll get going in some aspect, but we need a lot of faith and a lot of help from the medical society to help us out here finding, I know it's going to be a while for a vaccine, maybe finding a cure or something, or, getting more testing out there. That's what's key to beating this. And, it's just not about sports. Sports is a big part of America, as everyone sees now. And I think people start to realize how important sports are, not just for the players that are on the ice, but all the workers that are there, the workers that are working the concession stands, ushers, people that deliver the food, people that print the tickets, whatever. There's so many things going on within a sporting event, and it's not just about the athletes. The athletes will be okay. It's everyone else around it. So we're trying to get this going as quick as we can, but it all comes down to the medical field, and I have huge belief in the medical field, and I think this is going to end, and we'll start our season.
Yeah, we got to put our faith in them at this point. You're right. Did you watch The Last Dance on Sunday night?
No, I haven't yet. It's on my list.
Is it on?
It's on my list. It's on my list. I actually, it's so funny. My daughter said we got to watch a thing on Vegas. I think it was called Valiant, and it's about the rally around the team, especially with the massacre that had happened just before the first game of the Vegas team. And it was really uplifting to see something like that. And then you can go back now. What's great, you don't have the live sports, but now you can go back and watch and catch up on a lot of things. And I'm catching up on a lot of TV. I'm catching up on a lot of cleaning and organizing that I haven't done over the years, and drawers that I've gone through that I didn't even know existed, and I'm finding things. So that's one of the great things about being home. And it gets tiring, but you value your time at home.
Wendell, it's good catching up. I can't wait for the NHL, the AHL, everything to get back. Hopefully it's sooner rather than later. Amen to what you were saying about how we're going to get through this. So I appreciate the time. And when things do get rolling again, maybe even there's a playoff season for you guys this year. You made the run all the way to the final last year. Good luck if there is a playoff this year, okay?
I appreciate it. Everyone adhere to the social distancing, please, and take care of them. We'll get out of this together, and everyone stay safe.
Thanks, Wendell.